Now, in some cases, the Social Security Administration, everybody, can withhold a portion of your benefits. Here's some more information on that. Millions of Social Security recipients could see a big change to their monthly benefit checks soon. The federal government has confirmed that some Americans will be receiving a larger relief payment than others. So Social Security benefits can potentially make or break retirement for millions of people. In fact, according to a survey, around 1 in 5 older Americans say that Social Security is their sole source of retirement income. If you plan to rely on your benefits in any capacity in retirement, it's wise to ensure you're receiving as much as possible. But there are a few unexpected ways you could lose your benefits without regularizing it. Your Social Security benefits may be subject to both state and federal income taxes in retirement. Whether or not you owe taxes to the state will depend on where you live. And the good news is that 38 states do not tax Social Security at all. Federal taxes will depend on a figure called your combined income, which is your adjusted gross income plus half of your annual Social Security benefit amount. For instance, if you're withdrawing $30,000 per year from a 401k, your combined income is $40,000 per year. If your combined income is higher than $25,000 per year, then you'll owe federal taxes on a portion of your benefits. In some cases, the Social Security Administration can withhold a portion of your benefits if you have certain types of unpaid debts. These debts can include unpaid child support, alimony, or restitution. The Department of Treasury can also garnish your benefits to cover unpaid tax debts, withholding up to 15% of your monthly checks until you repay your debt. It is definitely important to keep an eye out on your Social Security monthly checks to make sure you receive the right amount. If you filed your tax return electronically by the April 18th deadline and expecting a refund, well, the IRS has said that you should expect it within 21 days. That means you should have received a refund check by May 9th. But the agency has also said that if you filed late, or there were errors, or you didn't set up direct deposit, you should expect a delay then. And according to the IRS website, when an issue delays your return, its resolution depends on how quickly and accurately you respond. Then the ability of the IRS staff that is trained to complete the processing of your return as quickly as possible. The date you receive your tax refund depends on the method used to file your return. If your tax refund goes into your bank account via direct deposit, it could actually take 5 days or even more for the money to go into your account. If you do not properly reconcile your stimulus payment with your recovery rebate credit, you may have also delayed your refund. IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick has told lawmakers in Congress that the agency received more than 10 million returns last year, in which taxpayers failed to properly reconcile their stimulus payments with the recovery rebate credit cards. Folks, I just hope that President Biden can do something about this and send out more stimulus checks in the coming days, because many people are in need of stimulus payments. If you guys agree, tell me in the comments down below.
There isn't a day goes by where we don't seem to see a new spike, or a new high, I should say, in gasoline and diesel prices at the very same time that the president's approval ratings hit new lows. I don't think that correlation is any coincidence. The high fuel prices in this country are attributable to this administration's policies, many of which have discouraged oil and gas production, energy production right here in the United States. Most recently is last week when the president took the Gulf in Alaska, some of these leases off limits, shut them down. It absolutely makes no sense if you're concerned about the pocketbook pain that the American people are experiencing on a daily basis, the higher prices that they're experiencing at the pump. You would think you would be working aggressively to try and open up more energy production in this country, but this administration seems intent on doing just exactly the opposite. And that has been their plan from the beginning. If you look back in the very earlier stages of this administration, whether it's oil and gas leases on federal lands, and even if they, in some of these places where they're issuing leases, you have to get a permit to drill, which they're not doing, or forcing long delays. It's just been an example of delays, shortages, and constantly higher prices for everything in this Biden economy. I would hope that the administration would think seriously about revising their strategy here, because at the moment all it's doing is making the American people and the American economy harder for more working class families in this country. The latest example, of course, of the shortage is the baby formula shortage. And again, these are just basic.
Combination of IV nutrition and formula for her nutrition. Not having the right formula means two things: costly treatments and very high risk to her health. He said, quote, "She's stable this week, but we live in fear, not knowing if we'll have enough of the right formula next week or every week." And he went on to describe the challenges they face. So you and everyone in this room has heard some version of those stories, especially for children that have complex medical needs, but all children who need formula. I don't think there's any question that when Senator Murray and others have pointed to that timeline between, in your testimony, September 20th, when the FDA learned of a Coronabacter infection at the Sturgis plant, that time lag between September and then when the inspection was done and other actions were taken. You haven't provided a good answer for that. And the FDA needs to be held accountable for that, among other things, for that. But there is a lot of blame to go around here. Senator Murray made reference to the fact that on February 24th, she and I sent a letter to Robert B. Ford, chairman of the board and chief executive officer of Abbott in Abbott Park, Illinois. This is a February 24th letter from the chairman of a Senate committee, the Health, Education, Labor, Pensions Committee, Senator Murray, and we have not gotten the information that we asked for in that letter. I know they've provided some, but it is totally, in terms of a response, totally inadequate, especially in light of the findings that you have in your testimony on page 2 about the evidence of contamination. So this is a contamination problem for sure. It's also a notification problem when it comes to what the FDA didn't do enough of in terms of notification, but also what the company didn't do. So I've got legislation to impose obligations on both. One is to require manufacturers to provide timely notification of circumstances that are known to the company that are likely to lead to a disruption in supply chain. Companies got to do that, and they should be mandated to do that. But the FDA also needs to expand and accelerate these notification requirements, and the FDA has got to work with these companies to provide that notification. I also think you should have more authority to request records in advance of or in lieu of an in-person inspection. So my question is this. Talk about those authorities that you would need to oversee the infant formula supply chain. What's the authority you have now? What are the blind spots or the defects that we should fix by way of legislation?
We have almost no authority now other than to review the products as they come in, as has been noted. When it comes to this sort of